come back from quite a serious injury. First of all, what's it like finally being back on the pitch and helping the team?
Yeah, it's good, really good. Yeah, it's tough, and you have doubts like during the injury if you'll ever get back. So it's good to be back playing. Obviously, the circumstances, we find ourselves as a team isn't ideal, but from like a purely personal perspective, it's good just to be back playing football, really.
Yeah, I can imagine. Obviously, it was like, I think from reading a few things about it, it was about 9 months or so you were out.
The injury was 1st of April last year, and then first full 90 was end of December. So yeah, it was getting on to 9 months really, and I still know personally, like physically, I've still got a way to go to be where I was at last season from a fitness perspective. But I'm just happy to be out there and playing really.
Yeah, like you said, it's like such a long time being out. Kind of like mentally in that kind of recovery. Like, what was that like? At home, obviously off work, I imagine, and stuff like that. Like, how did you cope?
Yeah, it's tough, really tough, and probably tougher mentally than physically, really, because again, after the surgery, pain-wise was okay. It was just kind of, it's a bony injury, so it's one of those that just takes time. Like, it takes time. There's not a lot that you can do. Obviously, doing everything you can to try and stay fit and try and maintain your sort of muscle and stuff like that. But from like a bony perspective, it just takes time. So it just felt like forever. So mentally, it was tough because I've never really had any sort of long layoff like that. The only other long layoff I've had is COVID, a couple of years before. So from like an injury perspective, touch wood, I've been all right. So yeah, it was tough, but I think obviously I was just getting myself in and around the club. I think that was the best way to cope with it. Obviously, it was at a time where we were, winning the league in the last sort of 4 weeks of the season, wasn't it? So I was just up here pretty much every week watching lads train, watching lads play, which helps you get, still feel a part of it, even though obviously there's not a lot you can do on the pitch, really.
Yeah. Well, you touched on it there, and like you said, is it, you said you're quite a way back from being at your peak again. Mentally wise, again, on the pitch now that you're back, has it like affected your game, or do you have anything, or is it just like back to normal and you're just free again?
I don't think there's any like apprehension or anything when I'm going in for tackles or anything like that. I think it's just from a purely like a fitness perspective. Last year was probably my best year playing, really. In terms of like stats, goals, winning the league, everything. And to be fair, that was obviously, you look at a snapshot of a year, but that was probably a culmination of 2-3 years hard work, because we had the year before that was off with COVID, and I had 6 months without club after leaving Aberystwyth as well. So it was a good 2 years in the making last season, and I was probably the fittest I've ever been, the strongest I've ever been. So it was a bit of bad luck that something like this happened. So I know to get there, it's going to take a little bit of time to get to where I was last year. But yeah, it's it's just about doing the right things individually and just working hard. And obviously the situation we're in now as a team is difficult, but from a purely individual perspective, it's just about working hard and just getting myself as fit and as strong and back to the levels of last season, if not higher.